Welcome to today's Explainer. We're going to do something a little different right now. We're stepping back for a quiet philosophical observation of a structural condition that pretty much permeates our entire modern world. Using the framework of reflective humanism, we're going to look at a state that, well, we all feel it in our bones, right? But we rarely actually pause to analyze it. We are diving into why we find ourselves so trapped in these repetitive states and what it truly means when we lose the space to recover.
So, why do we keep reacting even when we are completely exhausted? I want you to just sit with that question for a moment. It's such an incredibly relatable phenomenon. In modern society, we all seem to share this exact same experience, where we are absolutely burnt out, our energy is totally depleted, and yet we just don't stop. We keep scrolling on our phones, we keep firing off responses to messages, we keep trying to optimize our daily schedules, we just continue to react. But, why exactly do we do that?
Part 1. Exhausted but not broken.
To really grasp this, we kind of have to zoom out and shift our focus away from individual psychology. This isn't just a matter of, needing to take a long weekend or a vacation. It's actually about the structural state of our modern civilization itself. The real crisis facing our society right now isn't necessarily a sudden dramatic collapse. Actually, scratch that. It's more like we are entering a phase where systems just keep right on functioning while completely losing the ability to recover. We're operating in this state of transparent pain. It's a quiet, persistent friction between the endless demands of the outside world and our own internal capacity to actually process them.
Part 2. Losing our recovery space.
So, beneath the surface of this hyper-efficient society we've built, there is this really profound dichotomy. The visible stuff? Well, the system keeps moving. Production happens every day. We are locked into continuously reacting to an endless stream of inputs. Yet very quietly, these absolutely essential elements are just disappearing right out from under us. We're losing silence, we're losing asynchrony, and the actual margins of space we need for recovery. Reflective humanism points out that spatial and temporal fluctuation is practically required to generate any kind of meaning in life. When we get locked into these continuous rapid-fire reactions, we lose that fluidity. We literally lose our reconnectivity.
Part 3. Chronic synchronization.
And that structural loss leads us directly to a core mechanism, chronic synchronization. Think of it as a state of constant reaction to microstimuli. The systems remain completely functional, sure, but they have completely lost the margin to recover. High-speed communication basically forces us into this chronic depolarization phase. We end up totally hypersensitive to the tiniest inputs, constantly prioritizing short-term judgment over any kind of long-term stability. The fascinating thing is, we don't break. Instead, we become rigidly synchronized to the blazing speed of the network. And in the process, we lose that empty space that's absolutely necessary to reset our internal phase.
Part 4. The always connected society.
Now, this isn't just some abstract high-level theory. This constant state of synchronization is structurally embedded across almost all of our everyday environments. Just look at social media, where we are trapped in constant, short-term evaluations. Or in modern workplaces, where this intense drive for hyper-optimization leads to widespread chronic burnout. We see it in politics, which has essentially become a state of permanent, immediate reaction. Even in AI environments and our everyday human relationships, we are constantly pushed toward this unbroken connection. We are functioning, absolutely, but we are essentially trapped in a loop of permanent fatigue.
Part 5. A silent unrecoverability.
We really need to quietly observe the trajectory here of a civilization that has basically optimized away its own breathing room. The danger is so incredibly difficult to notice precisely because the system is still moving. And honestly, that is the ultimate trap of chronic synchronization. We tend to assume that just because the economy is running and the data is flowing and the emails are sending, that everything is perfectly fine. But functioning does not equal health. A lack of a dramatic, fiery breakdown actually hides a silent unrecoverability. The whole structure just becomes brittle, entirely devoid of the resilience that can only come from true rest.
Part 6. A quiet, open question.
Reflective humanism isn't about giving you aggressive certainty or dogmatic answers. It's really about observation. So I'll leave you with this. Can a society that is still moving truly be called healthy? Or is the space for recovery, the silence, the margin, is that actually the true condition of life? At what exact point does a civilization transition from a state of dynamic generation into a state of chronic, exhausted fixation? Take some time to think about that.